Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the 3rd and 20 Dynasty Podcast, Season 3, Episode 12. We're following Week 6 of the NFL football season, and there's a lot of news and notes that we need to get to. So first, I'm going to say what's up to Jake, Frank, and Lounis, and without even giving you guys an option to reply, because, who cares? We're just going to say Carson Wentz out for 6 weeks, kicking it off with the Commanders quarterback. Just disgusting performance on Thursday Night Football. I think he passed for under 100 yards, and turns out his hand is broken. Some finger is broken, I think.
Yeah, so, he got surgery, right?
Yeah, you might think.
But is this one of those scenarios where Schneider's handing the medical team like some bills, so they're like, "Yo, we don't want Carson playing for this draft pick upgrade." Like,
yeah.
He's got a finger injury.
I would think so. Maybe if not for it's kind of like an intentional mention. If not for he got surgery, I would see if maybe he was just out.
Yeah, but this is the Washington Commanders, where Washington's organization is so bad that they could have been like,
medical staff you need
it'll
surgery.
Never be fine. Yeah, they literally, what's his name? Trent Williams. Trent Williams had cancer, and they couldn't diagnose it. They missed that he had cancer. And we're like, no, you're fine. Keep going. Keep playing. And that's why he's no longer a Washington Commander. That might have been not as accurate as I would have liked, but close enough. The sentiment's there. Anyway, though, I would have expected them to just throw in Sam Howell, but maybe they decide.
That's what I thought, too.
Hey, too soon to kind of just throw this rookie quarterback into this mess, this fray that's going on. Let's let Taylor Heineke take the brunt of,
I think part of it too is put in Heineke for the tough reps when you're still in it. Because if you ask the Commanders players, they're going to think they still have a playoff shot. They're not going to be acting like a fan would, where they're saying, "Oh, 2-4," they're completely out of it. So you get a guy that's played in the system for a full season.
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying to win the games, that's kind of what you have to do. And then if he struggles, you lose more games. You just have the natural progression into Sam Howell.
It is crazy timing coincidence, because I forget if it was the stock market episode that we did last week, or if it was just this pod that we did last week, where we were talking about Carson Wentz, probably not playing the whole season. But who would have thought it would have been Thursday Night Football game that caused an injury? Yeah, truthfully, I don't know what effect this had. I think maybe good news for Terry McLaurin, because Taylor Heineke and McLaurin look better together.
I view it as worse news for all the receivers.
You think so? Carson Wentz did just pass for under 100 yards.
I know, but generally Wentz, if you gave both 16 starts, I would expect Wentz to have more yards and touchdowns. There'll be more picks, but there will be more yards and touchdowns than Heineke.
So we're doing the whole across the board, just bump them down a little bit.
Yeah, dude, I don't think this realistically is changing any values or.
I tend to side more with.
Well, not like their dynasty values. Sorry, I didn't mean that. No. I just mean just playing them in these couple next weeks while Heineke's starting. I don't think it's a plummet, but I probably would have felt a little bit better with Wentz as the quarterback. I'm someone who's starting Curtis Samuel and McLaurin.
Yeah. What's up? I'm in a 12-team Superflex rebuild. I got Russell Wilson. Can't seem to trade him with anybody for a first. It's kind of crazy. What should I expect?
And me both.
Just hold.
Yeah, you just gotta hold. The thing that's on your side with this is that if you're gonna hold on to anyone that's underperforming, a quarterback is probably the best one. He's on a super massive contract. He's had success before, so. Even if the crazy scenario, the Broncos were just fuck it, we're axing him, we're out of this, he'll still get another shot with someone else. So I agree with you. He should be worth at least a late random first, if we're being realistic. I can understand why no one's giving it up for him right now, but the guy's been inconsistent. You just have to hold.
Yeah, no, this is an easy hold. And I don't even think they can just axe it. Even at a huge loss, the earliest they can is 25, and even then it's a shit ton of dead money. He's going to be a starter for a few more years at the minimum. Yeah, it's a hold. Because do you blame anyone for not wanting to give up a first right now for us?
Yeah, I don't blame.
Yeah,
it's I don't know how you can kind of expect it right now.
If you're really panicking on Russ and you personally are just like, I don't want to hold Russ anymore. I'm completely out. Like Lounis was saying, you just have way better leverage doing a player swap. Oh, so because a lot of the times the rebuilders are only going to want to buy low on Russ. So if they're giving up their precious draft picks, you're just going to get shafted in a deal like that.
Yeah.
You're going to be the clear, I gave him up for cheap. At least with players, you can finagle it into someone you like that's currently undervalued. Maybe a guy like a David Njoku, where it's like, okay, if I'm a contender and I want to get onto a guy that has a lot more upside and is putting up good points for his position, why not do something like that? But I wouldn't do that. I'm keeping Russ.
It feels gross trading Russ for the Cleveland Browns tight end. Yeah, personally, I'm just firmly in the hold. I think now is like the worst time to sell Russell Wilson because I just refuse to believe he is this bad.
You can't sell him right now. Yeah.
Even if you desperately want to get him off your team, I don't think now is ever going to be the time. All right, but back to
Russ segment.
Yeah, back to the Commanders real quick. Just I don't know, like 30 seconds. Like, is it worth getting out on anyone like a Curtis Samuel, a Dotson? Like, is it worth trying to move into a more safe kind of player of a similar?
I don't think so. Honestly, like all those guys' value is pretty, I think, stable at this point. I think the only one with any volatility is Curtis Samuel, just because seeing Terry McLaurin put up those wide receiver 1 numbers, and Dotson is good as a rookie. So those two values are not going to change significantly, at least. The only one that I would be worried about would be Curtis Samuel, and just if this offense, without Carson Wentz throwing the ball, could support 3 wide receivers, Logan Thomas, Brian Robinson, all these other guys. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. But all right, it seems like overall the total effect not that crazy.
Yeah, no, the dynasty value doesn't really change much for me. It's mostly just do you feel confident starting them this next month.
This one I find to be very interesting because it kind of came out of nowhere. Cam Akers was held out of Sunday's game for the Rams. It was originally reported as personal reasons, but then it came out that it's looking like the Rams are trying to trade Cam Akers, give him somewhere else to play.
What are you getting for Cam Akers right now?
That's why I was just going to say.
Like I'm saying, like you maybe get a 7th.
Now, is this Cam Akers? Is Cam Akers just like, I'm not playing?
I think it's Cam Akers' request because I think if it was just like the team decision, you can just bench him.
Now, do you think this has to do with how quickly he played off of that Achilles injury, especially in the playoffs last year, where he's like, okay, you guys rush me back, and now, whatever he's feeling because of the lack of playing time or inconsistent playing time this season, maybe it's something along the lines of that. It's just I want to know what side is pushing the he's out. Is he just like, I'm out, or are the Rams just like, dude, you suck so bad, just stay at home?
I think it is a little bit of. I mean, he's been terrible this season. Who could have seen that coming? But I think it is a combination of maybe he feels behind because the Rams O-line is awful. It's terrible right now.
Yeah.
I think maybe he feels like he has free agency coming up soon. I think he's a free agent, not after this season, but after next season.
Yeah,
I'm sure he feels like if he went to a team with a good O-line that maybe he could like help himself. And I'm sure on the Rams side, they're like, okay, you can leave. You're averaging like 3 yards a carry. Like it's not really a big deal with them. I'm interested to see what they could possibly get for him. My guess is a conditional 6 that could be either a 6th or a 7th. That would be my guess on the return, which is a crazy fall from grace for him. But he's not the same running back he was at his rookie year. It's a shame, but he's not.
I mean, listen, pump the brakes on that. We're seeing him for 5 games.
He's not going to be that same guy. The guy who was his rookie year was like someone I thought he was going to have like multiple, like 1,100, 1,200.
Well, dude, you have to
and that guy was also running behind one of the best offensive lines in football, which is now disintegrated to one of the almost worst offensive lines in football. So,
and then the trade compensation isn't linear to talent as well.
Correct. It's
not fully linear, but like they'll tell you how teams value you.
Very rare. We saw Amari Cooper go for a 6th round pick. Like,
but that wasn't because of talent. That was because he had a big contract.
Okay, well,
you're gonna have to pay Cam Akers pretty soon. It's not like you're trading for him. He's got 9 years on a rookie deal.
Yeah, I mean, I stand by the same stance I had last summer. I was always out on Cam Akers after his injury and seeing his first couple of games back, and I wasn't going to be too hard on him. I gave him a chance at the start of the season. I just wasn't in on him, and he's kind of played how I expected him to. He started to get outsnapped by Henderson, even though he got more carries if you look at the snap percentage, because Henderson's the better receiver and pass blocker. Yeah, I think what's interesting now, if you look at their current backfield, Henderson's not a guy that's going to be like a full workhorse playing like 85% of snaps. He'll be the majority back in like the 1A or the one in a slight committee. I'm kind of interested to see now Kyren Williams. I wasn't really high on Kyren Williams at all. I think the rest of you weren't high on him either. But he's going to get an opportunity to get some carries now in this offense.
This team, I think, is 1,000% bringing in a running back, whether it's a trade.
I think this offseason for sure,
because they brought in Malcolm Brown, who's been a part of this McVay offense before, who will steal some carries if they don't bring anyone in. But I'm expecting this team to trade or free agency a running back. Dude, look at this! I got this mean alpha going on right here.
I think if they do, it'll be CMC.
I think that's the only one.
The price on CMC is just way too high.
He'd get incorporated into the receiving game. I know, but I think that's just a bullshit first initial report. I'm sure the Panthers put that out. And I mean, if you're really expecting 2 firsts for, I don't know how it's, I mean, he's only like 26, but a running back who's come off injuries the past 2 seasons, and you're expecting 2 first-round picks on a big contract.
I think it's a bad value play for the Rams to go out and trade for whatever the actual price for CMC is, because it doesn't make them.
Let's say it's like a 2nd and a 3rd.
Yeah, regardless of what it is, I don't think it makes them like the front runner for the Super Bowl contenders. Whereas like the Bills, I think
the Bills,
your run game is probably the worst part of your team. You go out and you get CMC, like you're locking you're like, hey, we are all in. Like this team is going to try and win the Super Bowl, like at all costs.
I agree. Those two make way more sense.
Yeah, where I don't think the Rams are. And then on the flip side, it's like, what is the actual market for Cam Akers? Who is out there looking to get a middle?
My only guess was a team that can giving up a super late round pick, Denver or Arizona, because I think those are like the only 2 rosters where if he walked in, he'd be the best running back.
Atlanta.
Yeah, but Atlanta, even then, like
Miami.
I don't know if he's better than Mostert right now.
I think that they're if the price is truly,
I'm not kidding.
If the price is truly dirt cheap for Cam Akers and it's like a 6 for 7 swap, then I think the market for Cam Akers could be pretty large. I actually think that as the season progresses and if we see more running back injuries, we could see a team that's a contender near the deadline saying, screw it. It's cheap enough. I mean, a team like the freaking Eagles, they can just trade one of their bench receivers that does nothing and get the same return. Why don't they just turn around? Okay, we could just add another talented running back. Screw it. Maybe.
They don't even have Rager. Quez Watkins for...
I wouldn't go around and just... I don't know if I want to trade Quez Watkins for Cam Akers from the Eagles.
That's crazy.
Buddy, do you just listen to yourself?
I don't think I do. I'll take.
What
I'll
a
take
fall from grace with Cam Akers.
I was right. Listen. You guys can shame me on.
I don't know if I necessarily disagree, but it's just like this guy.
He's the number 3 receiver and a deep threat.
If you trade Quez Watkins for Akers,
I wouldn't. You got some nerve requesting a trade when you've been playing that fucking bad. Bro,
I don't know if I disagree. I don't know if I disagree.
Come on.
Yeah, all right. It's enough Cam Akers.
I just don't understand, Lounis, because like Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson put up virtually the same numbers, and you're like, one is amazing starting level running back, and the other
I think Henderson is better.
Get him out of the league.
I think Henderson is better. I'm not saying Henderson will get much on the trade market. What do I think Henderson would get? Maybe a 6, maybe a 5th instead of 6th, 7th. It's 5th, 6th. maybe. I don't think he'd get much on the trade market either.
I just
at least he
traded
can
for
pass block.
Diontae Ingram, gave Hilliard and Latavius Murray for him. You think Ingram gets on the field soon? No.
Nah. I like your other.
Wait, who did he say? Who gets on the field soon?
Keontae Ingram. I like Keontae. I like Keontae a decent amount too, just because like James Conner was so injury prone. I had a feeling that like, this was going to happen, but then it did happen, and Keontae's not getting on the field. And I mean, I know he's a rookie and everything, but like running backs, you kind of expect him to be making an impact early. And if he's not, beating out Darrell Williams and Benjamin, signs are pointing to not great. He was a healthy scratch for the first few weeks too.
He was only active this week because of the injuries.
Yeah, but the other one, getting Kyle Pitts for Hollywood Goedert in a second, and then you're also getting Dotson on top. Big fan. Kyle Pitts, cheap. Get Kyle Pitts.
Ingram has no vision. Joe Hebert says that Keontae Ingram is actually blind.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about vision.
I'm not going to be the one to argue you.
Yeah, it's just he's not getting on the field, which is not great. But speaking of the Cardinals, that's a great transition to the Cardinals wide receiver situation, because we have a lot going on in Arizona. I think we'll start off with the juicier news, I guess. Robby Anderson
has the juicy news? I thought the Hollywood was going to be the juicy
No, because this is like what's going on all the what is it called? Like the talking heads and everything. It's Robby Anderson had like a meltdown on the field, got kicked out of the game, a la Antonio Brown on the Bucs against the Jets. Steve Wilkes.
It wasn't as bad as
it wasn't as bad, but he squared up to his coach.
He was going off on the coach. Yeah,
he squared up to his coach, and he was sitting alone away from all the other receivers, and then Wilkes was like, "Just get out of here, buddy." And then literally the next day, Robby Anderson gets traded to the Arizona Cardinals, which coincided with Antonio Brown also originally reported to be out for the year.
Hollywood
Brown, his cousin. Originally reported to be out for the year, changed to, I think it's looking like a 6-week injury, but it's the same foot that he had the Liz Frank issue with, right? Is that correct?
That's the
and there it is, buddy.
That's the scary part.
Okay. It doesn't go away.
And just to jumble it all together, we also have DeAndre Hopkins coming back from suspension.
Yeah, we do.
So,
I know. Go ahead, JT.
One, is Robby Anderson like worth anything? Like,
yes.
Are we getting in on Robby?
He's still worth something.
Now, is he worth like a third? Fourth?
Yes.
I think a third.
Will
not
Kingsbury and Kyler Murray get their heads out of their ass at any point in the season? Because
I don't know. I don't know about
that's
Kingsbury.
The main issue.
I think Cliff is pretty close to getting fired.
He should have never got the job in the first place, but whatever.
I mean, if you want to give it to him in the beginning, yeah, sure. But since it's bad now, they're just telling Kyler, like, bail us out. And then Kyler's not playing his best right now either. But I think Robby Anderson I'd probably value him at like a late third, mid to late third. Okay, you're shaking your head. No, I'd rather have Robby Anderson than Mitchell Trubisky.
Well, I'm just wondering, can Robby Anderson fill in and put up last year Christian Kirk numbers?
No,
I think you're asking a lot from him there. Well, the other question,
that's not even my main question.
For that to happen, you have to wonder what's going on with Rondale Moore. Where's Rondale Moore fit into all this?
He's been getting a lot of targets.
I think that is the number one thing with this whole situation. I don't know what to think of Rondale Moore anymore, or how to even value him, because it's like the second Hollywood is out for 6 weeks, they feel the need to go out and give up assets to get a receiver, even with Hopkins coming back. I know they weren't actual like legit assets. It was a 6th and a 7th round pick. I'm pretty sure.
It wasn't anything worth a whole lot.
It wasn't anything crazy, but I mean, like, I would have liked to see them be like, okay, Rondale, step into this number 2 role to Hopkins. He'll draw most of the attention and just do things. And like, I don't know. I'm kind of underwhelmed by Rondale, and I loved him coming out of college.
He's played over 85% of the snaps in all 3 of his games this season. Past 2 games, he's had 10 and 8 targets. Dude, like, Is he not the number 2? I'm confused.
I think he is, Frank. I think he is the number 2, and this Robby Anderson move was just a very happy coincidence. I'm gonna call it.
Hold on. Who's that other receiver there? Right now, right below George. Do you think if they're like comfortable with Rondale Moore at the 2, they feel the need that Dortch is such a bad number 3 that they have to go trade for another receiver?
Well, I think they needed receivers to begin with, and now they lost one.
I think the point was that they took advantage of a very cheap situation on Robby Anderson. They're like, okay, we'll give up the 7th round pick when we just lost Hollywood Brown, and he's a guy that could fill that void at least partially for a 6th round pick.
He can be a deep threat,
yeah, with a coaching staff that is, like you said, probably about to get fired if they lose a couple more games. Like,
I think that plays a factor. That's fair.
So they're just trying to win anything they can do. And they said, okay, we'll bring in a depth piece here. And even if Robby Anderson is the 4th receiver or the 3rd receiver, it's still worth it because now they have the depth at least until Hollywood gets back.
So is Rondale Moore going to eat still? Like, is he going to stay consistent seeing these 7, 10, 11 targets, even though they're not the juiciest targets?
What do you guys value him at right now?
Probably
mid to late 2nd.
I was gonna say late.
I'm not giving up a mid-2nd for Rondale Moore.
Definitely not. I was thinking late 2nd, early 3rd.
Man, I think you guys are undervaluing Rondale Moore a little bit.
I think it's closer to early 3rd, and I love
early coming out. I don't understand. Why is his price gone down now? Why is his price gone down? I don't understand.
He's had 18 targets the past 2 games.
He's playing all the snaps. He's on the field the whole game.
I don't know why it would go
He's
down.
been productive when the offense has been relatively shit. Look, we see the Kyler Murray that we saw for half of last year?
I will say this. Candidate. If Robby Anderson is the reason that Rondale Moore can't get targets, then I'm done. Like, see Rondale Moore. Yeah, because Robby Anderson, I don't think is that good.
The reason I'm out is because I think they traded for Robby to be the 2, and Rondale to be like a slot. That's the reason. If that's not the case, and Rondale was the definitive number 2, and he's getting
Robby could barely be the 2 on the Panthers. Like Robby was barely beating out.
I know. He wasn't, but I mean, Kyler is also going to be the best quarterback he plays. Listen, I'm not saying Robby Anderson's like this great receiver. He's not. But if he's outproducing Robby Anderson, I'm going to feel a lot better. Like if he's putting up more fantasy points than him on a week-to-week basis, great. I'll be back in on Rondale Moore. I'll say he's kind of towards maybe a 208 range value. But I think for right now, I have him probably like, if I should say like 211, 212, 301 for him, sure. But I don't know. Even like 211, I think I might just take my chances on the draft pick.
Which we'll go over later when we see it. But
yeah, I'm interested to see who that will be at 211. I'm just going to say like, Robby Anderson, I would be entertaining for any 3rd. I would do that mass offer strategy that we talked about before and just see if I could get a 3rd for Robby Anderson because I don't trust him. Rondale Moore, I think I stick with them. I'm not giving up any early 2nd. If I could give up like a 2024 2nd for Rondale Moore, I'd be entertaining that.
And again, I'm rooting for
2nd quality kind of player.
Yeah, I'm rooting for because I think you guys remember. I know me and Frank watched a ton of him. I loved him coming out of college. I have his shares in a shit ton of leagues where I drafted him around like that 204, 205 range when he was coming out in the NFL draft. And so I'm rooting for him to do well. I'm down.
Elijah Moore or Rondale Moore right now?
Elijah Moore.
Ooh.
Elijah Moore.
Right now,
Elijah Moore is a much more talented receiver. He's the more talented receiver.
I mean, I agree. He is the more talented wide receiver, but he is just that Jets offense looks too crowded.
Fucking Zach Wilson had like 80 passing yards last game. I'm more so concerned about Zach Wilson, but that's the difference.
For me, I have them both around that mid-2nd tier. I guess I give the nod to Elijah still, but subject to change soon. I mean, if
Elijah was in for Rondale, if Elijah was swapped in for Rondale Moore in that Cardinals offense, I think you'd be seeing better production.
I'd assume
I'm sure
so.
you would.
No. I'm not saying better production than he's on the Jets. I mean better production than Rondell has put up the weeks he's been. Entire career there. Even.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he hasn't done a whole lot yet.
No, I disagree because then Rondell Moore would be Braxton Berrios on the Jets. Getting
you know what? Maybe
Zach Wilson.
He might be the Berrios on the Jets. I don't know. That's actually a fair point. He might be the Berrios.
Well, now that you mention Elijah Moore, one of his counterparts that I always talk about on the pod and was in love with for a little bit, he tweeted out LOL, that's Rashad Bateman, in response to Deshaun Jackson signing with the Ravens.
It was just coincidentally like 10 minutes after he got signed.
The report. Yeah.
First, I as soon as this happened, I sent to you guys, like, is Will Fuller dead? Like, I don't know how we're digging up Deshaun.
Yeah,
I think Will Fuller just is like, I've gotten injured so many times. I've made millions of dollars. I'm just gonna relax. I think he's just silently retired.
He is dead until proven alive.
I think he's silently retired, or like I think maybe he has like 2 or 3 teams that he'd play for, where it's like a place he'd want to live and like a contender.
I think that's more the issue is that he only wants to sign with like 4 teams.
Didn't he quit on Miami?
I think that's it. He straight up said last offseason, he's like, I'm not signing anywhere that's cold. And I'm sure it's like
that's great.
He said that he's like, I don't want to live somewhere that's like shitty. Like it's in. I think it's what me and Jake said. I think he just has 3 or 4 teams that he play for, and otherwise he's like, I'm just chilling.
There's nice areas around Baltimore.
I honestly get it. Like the human aspect, like I understand it. You've made millions. Like it's.
Do you know Baltimore, JT?
I said around Baltimore. There's nice areas.
Back
definitely
to
bad.
Yeah, Baltimore's a nice area.
I mean, the 2 major questions from this are A, is D-Jax going to do anything?
No.
Okay, so that means then B, this doesn't impact any of the Ravens receivers. You're not shit.
It shouldn't, which is why the reason I think that tweet was pathetic.
Well,
I'm like,
it does kind of have me.
You're baiting. They spent a first-round pick on you 2 years ago. They traded away the number 1 receiver for you to step in as the number 1. Why the fuck do you care about Deshaun Jackson?
I just want to know, like, is there more to his injury or whatever that's going on? Like it was a foot injury, right? Like, is there more to this injury that's like not being said? Like, is he out for more weeks? Like, is it more to do with that than it is with actually Deshaun Jackson? Because I mean,
maybe
when Rashad Bateman's not in, this receiving group is just, it's so gross. It's just like Devin Duvernay, James Prochet. Like, you do have Mark Andrews there, obviously, but like, yeah, it's just we expect.
And Kolar, I think, is coming back this week as well.
Which is nice, but it's like, this is a late round tight end. Like, we don't.
Yeah, it's just like, he's just about to go off. Let's say,
we like
70 yards, a touchdown.
Yeah, sure. But anyway, I think this team just needs a receiver regardless. It's just weird that D-Jax is the one that
I mean, there's not many other good free agents. Yeah. I would have liked to. I mean, I wouldn't have hated if they did what the Cardinals gave up for Robby Anderson. Like what did it take? A 6th and then a next year 7th to add him. I think Anderson's better than Duvernay, or at least more talented.
I'm just low on Duvernay.
I don't know.
I'd
rather have Devin Duvernay.
I think Duvernay's in the better offense. I think Anderson is more talented though than Duvernay as a receiver. Not
as a rebuilder,
things because
as a rebuilder, hold or sell Deion Jackson, and if so, what can you get for him? I don't think you. I mean, Frank offered him.
What are you gonna get for Deion Jackson? I mean, maybe sell him to the person who has Jonathan Taylor as a handcuff would be.
Yeah, I sent out in one of in the league I have, and I'm also just like kind of hard retooling right now. You can have him for a 5th. I didn't get a bite, so I guess you sell, and if you can sell, you sell for any draft pick that you can get.
Yeah, I would try targeting the Jonathan Taylor, whoever has Taylor, and just be like, here's your handcuff for your starting running back. He's a good hand. I mean, because in his start.
I mean, he looks really good, but it's going to require again Taylor to be out, and then on top of Taylor,
Naheem Hines,
and it's just. It was a good game, though. He had a good game, but
he had a good game. But your best bet, your best bet is the Taylor owner giving you a 4th or 5th round pick, and I think that's a good outcome.
Yeah. Next on the agenda, we got Dak Prescott. It was thought that he might actually come back to the game against the Eagles Sunday night.
He was never coming back.
But
too scared.
Yeah, I mean, according to Jerry Jones, he should have been back 3 weeks ago. But
that was always crazy.
Yeah, we have Dak Prescott is making his return. I just think he took a massive hit on keep trade cut where he definitely was overvalued in the beginning of the season. I think Dak has always been kind of overvalued, but like the hit that he took for only being out like 5 weeks. Like,
I'm gonna let you guys, if you want to, take him on the stock thing tomorrow. I don't think he's gonna be good in his first game back.
I've already been holding him. I think
it took Russell Wilson like 2 games after that injury to kind of get back to looking like normal Russ that season.
Yeah,
are they not playing the Lions though?
Like
They're playing the Lions, the team that after the Lions.
They are
this was a crazy
the Lions.
This is a crazy stat that I saw on Twitter. The Lions had a bye week this week, and they have still allowed the most points in NFL history through 6 weeks.
That's a fair point. I don't know. Like they got humiliated the week before their bye week. Like just absolutely. What was it? 29-0, 26-0, something like that against the Patriots.
It wasn't great. Whatever it was.
Yeah, it was bad. I think like getting humiliated like that bye week. I think they'll come out playing pretty well. I don't know. I think
the Dallas Cowboys are very comparable to the Patriots, though, in terms of like defense is very good. They have a good run game, a solid run game. I mean, the difference is though, the Cowboys have Dak and CeeDee Lamb, where the Patriots.
That's right. I think the guy though that I think is going to take the biggest jump. Besides obviously like you want to say forgetting the number CeeDee Lamb, like obviously I think you can expect him to be more productive. I think Michael Gallup is going to take a big jump. I think once now he's the easy number 2 in that offense. And I think Dak there now.
I'm sorry, I didn't know you pronounced Dalton Schultz as Michael Gallup.
Oh, we have a Dalton Schultz truther.
Okay.
Dak and Dalton Schultz have always been a good connection.
They were a good connection when Michael Gallup was injured.
Did y'all know Nico Collins has more points?
I do like Dalton Schultz. And I think he gets a boost.
That's not.
I think that Dak is, like JT said, that bump that he got, or not bump, the dip. What do you call it? The dip that he got was way too much. I sent out a lot of offers for Dak Prescott in leagues. I only got a bite in one of them, but I was able to get one, so I guess hurrah. I think he's going to come back and perform well. To me, this offense, compared to the first 2 weeks of the season, is performing much better. They're executing much better. I think the talent on the outside is finally getting there now that you got Gallup back. Guys like Noah Brown seem to be a little bit more comfortable in that third wide receiver role. And the run game is slightly more consistent. I think that when Dak comes back, this offense goes back to what it was last season as one of the more prolific offenses in football. I don't think that necessarily means that Dak is a lock to be a top-term fantasy quarterback, because they do just spread the football around, because they get those 2 running backs. So they're running the ball at a pretty decently high rate and doing a lot of wonkier kind of things.
I mean, they're typically, though, one of the top passing teams in terms of pass attempt.
Yeah, I feel like in the red zone, though, is where you're really seeing a lot of this gimmicky run game bullcrap. So it will negate those passing touchdowns that I feel like a couple years ago Dak was getting more consistent numbers out of. But I think that Dak has been one of the more tremendous buy lows, especially at the quarterback position. Dude, his price was like $4,800.
What's his price at now?
Criminally low to me.
What's his price at now? Because I actually do believe it. Do agree with you guys. I do think he was underrated last time I checked on him.
$5K basically.
Who's like around him? I need something to compare it to.
Around him would be Dameon Pierce, Austin Eckler, Michael Pittman, those kind of players.
I just feel like
he should
value. You can invest in a long-term, pretty stable asset. A guy that has put up multiple seasons as a high-end quarterback. I mean, he's what, 30 years old?
29. He might turn 30 this season.
I don't understand why the price is that low. Like you can flip into, if you want Dak Prescott, you can get him, and it's not one of these, oh, I have to give up a quarterback sort of a thing. People are pissed off at Dak Prescott. It's not every league that you can do it, but
so you need an asset on top of Russ, obviously.
Yeah, but what is the hypothetical asset on top of Russ right now?
I would guess a decent amount more still needed.
Russ,
second.
I was
thinking a second.
I was gonna. Well, okay, if it's an early second, that's different. I was kind of thinking like I don't know, just like a general random second. I was gonna say Russ in 2 seconds. And I think that would be a good trade.
I mean, keep trade like 2 contender seconds, yeah.
Keep trade cut
like if it's like 2 mid to later seconds.
Keep trade cut says Russ in a 2023 early second is actually overpaying for Dak. I don't think
it is.
I don't even know if that gets done.
Because you could say Russ is like at his low. Dak is also underrated. So I think when like you kind of even those out, I think if you can get Dak for Russ in an early second, that's a great deal.
Do you think Malik Willis could be the next Jalen Hurts, second rounder who had to sit behind a starting quarterback? I think Jalen Hurts is not a great comp for him just because they're kind of like opposites. Jalen Hurts has always been a relatively accurate quarterback, and in terms of like his game from the pocket, it's been pretty decent. He just he didn't really have that top end arm talent that really like was going to wow you and put you in the first round, which is always a big knock.
Which is what Malik has.
Yeah, and that's like Malik Willis to me. If his ideal scenario is being kind of like a Vic, where it's like, okay, he's average from in the pocket, but then that stuff that he can do off script just carries him.
There would need to be a fundamental philosophy change in Tennessee for him to get anywhere near.
I also do want to say, not that I think Tennessee's a bad situation, because I think Mike Vrabel would actually put a good offense around him and a run-heavy offense. But Hurts has the perfect offense around him right now.
It wouldn't be good for Malik Willis in Tennessee is not a good.
Scheme-wise, receivers, the O-line, Hurts is like
think about the intangibles as well. Like Hurts is probably like one of the most mentally tough players in the league, and probably one of the best leaders at the quarterback position right now. I mean, that's like hard to do. Like, forget about the stuff that he's doing on the field now. Like that in and of itself, those intangibles that he possesses. I know Malik Willis doesn't have that. Or at least,
what Malik Willis doesn't have, what Malik Willis also doesn't have is a good O-line, any good receivers currently with Treylon Burks out. You know, there's just nothing. Dude, there lastly,
this is the JT point of view. You were given a quarterback that has a crazy arm, can make everyone miss. Why wasn't he in the top 2 rounds of the NFL draft?
Mm-hmm.
That if is you have all those
physical tools in the league today, where this is after the drafts of Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts and things. Like, this is after those drafts where those were already seen as good value picks. This dude still fell to the 3rd round with like 5 teams that needed a quarterback passing on him multiple times.
I was about to say also Jalen Hurts was a 2nd round pick in a significantly more talented quarterback class. There were multiple quarterbacks that went in the 1st round the year Jalen Hurts got drafted. They're different style players. Like Malik Willis has an arm that Jalen Hurts will never have, but Jalen Hurts kind of has always been kind of a more accurate quarterback than Malik Willis. If you want to say they're similar runners, sure. I think Jalen Hurts is kind of more of a power runner. It's kind of a tough comp. I think you're hoping he turns into like mid.
You said Jalen Hurts was drafted in a significantly better quarterback class, but I'm just going to transition us here to
at the time. I'm going to
transition us here, Lounis, to potential Hall of Famer Bailey Zappi. Was drafted in the same quarterback class as Malik Willis. So
I'm wrong. I might be wrong.
Yeah, you know we do have that Patriots quarterback room. I mean, the media is making it more than it is controversy, but
I think it's a controversy.
All right, you're actually buying in. Perfect. All right, let's hear it. Why is it actually a controversy?
I don't think Belichick gives a fuck about draft status. I think he cares about like
he 100% does not care. He 1000% does not give a shit.
I think all he cares about is who's playing for me right now, who's following our schemes, who's making the right decisions and the right plays. And he's done all that. Like, if I had to predict and bet money on it, yes. Do I think Mac Jones comes back as a starter once he's fully healthy? If I had to, like I said, bet the house on it, I'd bet on Mac Jones. But I don't think this is something that can just be brushed off because, frankly, I don't think Belichick gives a fuck about draft status or contract or anything. He's gonna.
I think it's the other way around. I think he's like, dude, yes, I picked this guy up in the 6th.
Yeah, I actually think he might like it more, the fact that he was a 6th round pick compared to the first. He's like, oh,
Brady, bitch, watch me do it again. Like,
yeah, he's like, I'm gonna find my next 6th round. So, like, again, if I had to bet the house, I think Mac Jones. But I don't think this is just something that's like, oh, it's ridiculous.
You guys are doing Bailey Zappi a disservice though. He was actually a 4th round pick.
Well, it doesn't fucking matter. Fine, 4th round pick, whatever it may be.
4th round pick, Bailey Zappi.
Whatever. Like, I don't think Belichick gives a fuck about any of that.
I get that they're winning games. They're competitive with the Packers too. They could have won that, but like, it's not because of Bailey Zappi that they're winning these games.
Look at his numbers.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you, Linus. Are you more pro Bailey Zapp or anti Malik Willis, Mac Jones with this team?
I'm not anti Mac. I'm not anti Mac.
You just think that Bailey Zapp is a starting quarterback in the league.
He's impressed me. Who's his number 1 receiver?
Lunas, do you know what Bailey Zappi's quarterback rating is?
His number 1 receivers are Devontae Parker and Tyquan Thornton
Mac Jones
in the year 2022.
Those were also Mac Jones's primary receivers.
I don't care. Listen.
Hey, Zappi put up more yards in Mac Jones's offense in college. Had
Bailey Zappi's quarterback rating so far is a 34.7. How?
Listen, I don't know how. His numbers have been good. Yeah, okay, on this, that QBR is bullshit. The fucking, let me see.
He had 300 yards. He had a 56.4 QBR against Cleveland. He had 188 yards, and 24.8 QBR against Detroit.
Okay,
he had 13.2 QBR against the Packers.
Yeah, but the QBR. But listen, against Cleveland on the road against Cleveland has a pretty solid defense. 24-34, 309 yards, 70.6 completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Against Detroit in a blowout, 17 of 21, 188 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Against Green Bay, 10 of 15 for 99 yards, 1 touchdown. On the road against Green Bay, who was just thrown into the game, didn't get any starter reps in practice. Has Mac Jones blown you away this season?
No, certainly not. But he like similar to Bailey Zappi, like he's doing enough not to lose the Patriots games. I just think Mac Jones has been able to do more too, though. Like he had very good throws against the Dolphins where he like just dropped it in, made impressive plays to me where I wasn't necessarily seeing that as much in his rookie season. And again, like you're saying, he's playing with like Jacoby Myers, who was actually hurt for a couple games. So it's like Devontae Parker and
Tyquan Thornton was out.
Hunter Henry
was out as well.
Are your top guys. And like, not for nothing, but Bailey Zappi, like his main game was against the Lions where he just was okay. And then he had a good game against Cleveland, but like Cleveland's defense has actually been one of the worst this year too. Like I think they're like the 30th ranked defense this year, believe it or not. So
that's surprising.
He won games that the Patriots were supposed to win.
Well, not only that, the freaking Browns were punting every single drive until the fourth quarter. Like they didn't do that defense any favors.
They had no answer for Ramondre Stevenson too. Like they just could not stop Stevenson.
I think this is a really good buy low window if someone is panicking on Mac Jones. I think that Mac Jones is a franchise level quarterback. And I mean, let's not forget, right? In the beginning of the offseason, there was how many reports about how this offense couldn't do anything in practice, how the offensive coordinator position is a complete disaster. The offense has absolutely zero talent. Mac Jones wasn't playing that poorly. They figured a couple things out, especially like JT said in the run game, and they still are 500. Mac Jones is the starting quarterback of this.
I was going to say, you said they're 3-3. Zappy's got 2 of them. But
congratulations! You beat a Detroit team that couldn't score and a Browns team that couldn't score. I could have gone out and played quarterback. We might have had a chance.
Against the Lions, you would have.
You should have played for the
0 points.
Should have played for the Steelers then that Thursday night game.
Whoa,
but,
dude, come on.
I'm sorry.
Come on.
That was a low blow. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Impressive win this weekend for Pittsburgh. But what was I gonna say? No, I do think Mac comes back to starter. I just don't think it's nothing. Like I think the people who are saying like anyone who's even like talking about it.
Or are you buying Zappy then? What are you buying Zappy for?
I would wait until Mac comes back to buy Zappy. And then just hope that Mac struggles.
That's a lot.
What are you buying for?
Yeah, I mean, what's the price?
And I doubt you actually do that. I think you're a fraud. I don't think you buy.
What's the price for Zappy?
I mean,
you're the one trading for him.
On trade cut, it's saying he's a late third, 2023 late third.
You giving up your thirds for Zappies?
I'm 1,000% giving up a fourth.
Who knows? The Zappy guy gives him up for a fourth. I mean, I'm assuming,
but that's right now a third. I think when Mac comes back, it drops to a fourth. That's what I'm saying is the time to trade for him.
Okay. I just don't think you can get that. I don't think you can get a fourth for him. I just think that most Zappy people are going to be like, "Fuck it, I'll hang on to him." Fourth ain't worth it.
Maybe. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, Zappy did break records in college. He was nuts. Mac Jones on the
Hilltop
last year was electric. Yeah, I think Mac Jones is a really talented quarterback. You guys are completely.
How much longer is Mac Jones? You would trade a first for Mac Jones?
100%. I would.
I think Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is a good real life quarterback, but as far as fantasy is concerned,
for fantasy, no,
it's not worth the juice. It's not worth the squeeze. I would rather go and get Russell Wilson at probably a similar price, because I just think
I agree with you. Actually,
points for Russell Wilson.
I agree with you. Actually, real quick before we move on from this topic, does anyone know when Mac Jones is supposed to be back? I know he's just kind of been.
I think he's coming back this week.
Yeah,
this week he's back.
Okay. Do we want to ditch trades we're doing, or do we want to run through them real quick?
I think we could do them quick.
I'll just say mine in like 15 seconds. Trade for Garrett Wilson. I don't know what it takes. I've been offering like deals around like Debo for Garrett Wilson in leagues and been struggling even to do that. I don't know what I have to add on top of Debo because I don't feel comfortable adding like too much more. But just in general, like a guy like a Debo. If you're not winning right now, I don't know. If you can get like Devont again, if you're not trying to win a championship like this year, if you don't think you're one of the top 2 or 3 teams, see what a Devont like not just straight up 1-for-1, but if you can get like this player and something else or whatever it may have to be on either side, Devontae Adams and Garrett. I'm just trying to buy Garrett Wilson everywhere before I think he starts blowing up because I think Zach Wilson coming back, it's kind of been off. And I still value him as a top 12, top 10 dynasty wide receiver. And right now he's still like wide receiver 18 in a lot of people's minds. He's kind of had an underwhelming 2-week stretch. I'm trying to buy him everywhere. So that's my trade that I'm doing in the leagues.
All right, these are ones that I wanted to ponder. I'm not necessarily offering them out, but what's the viewpoint of Terry McLaurin? I feel like everyone is really soured on Terry McLaurin because of the whole Commander scenario. See, you guys are all. I am still in on Terry McLaurin.
I still am too.
I'm a lot of talent.
I'm holding because I don't have a choice.
The thing is
because of the fact that everyone's soured on him.
I have seen leagues where people are trading Terry now for less than a first. Now it seems like
I think that now is the worst time to trade him.
I would not want to give up a first for Terry.
That's the thing. I don't think you have to give up a first anymore. I think for every single week, basically, up until now, you have had to pay a first for Terry McLaurin, and now it is finally low enough to where you can
get him for a second.
MacGyver your way into a more favorable deal. I am really starting to think about potentially trying to offer out for Terry McLaurin in contender leagues. Dude, people see the 27 next to his name and they think this guy's a dinosaur. Let's be realistic. Terry McLaurin still has a pretty good 3-year outlook in the league. They just signed him to a new contract. Come on, Washington's got to figure it out eventually, right?
His two best quarterbacks he's had in his career are Ryan. Was it Ryan Fitzpatrick early on?
No, it was someone else. It was Ryan Fitzpatrick for the off season, maybe a quarter.
No, and then his rookie season.
Oh, his rookie season
when he blew up initially. It may have. It might have.
I don't know.
I forgot. But his rookie season is what I'm thinking.
Was it that Alex Smith season when he came back?
No. Alex Smith wasn't his rookie year. That wasn't his rookie year.
Kyle Allen.
He did catch Kyle Allen's one of them.
Maybe. I don't know. But either way, you could argue the best quarterback of his career has been this season's Carson Wentz. Or post leg injury Alex Smith. Whichever one you want to pick. Not good. I'm kind of with Frank. I figure that they get at least maybe a half decent one eventually. If I have McLaurin, I think you just kind of have to hold. I love the idea of buying him for a second.
No, you're not buying. You can't get him for a second. You have to pay. It's just less than
a second.
I saw a guy trade.
I just meant less than a first.
He got he traded Terry McLaurin.
Can you pull up McLaurin trades while Frank's saying this?
The trade I saw on Twitter was Terry McLaurin, Marcus Mariota, and I forget the last piece, but let's say it's Nico Collins, some receiver like that, for a first. And to me, that's starting to get towards the territory. I mean, if you needed a QB3 and then you picked up Terry McLaurin for that first, Terry McLaurin and a potential flex play, I guess, that's really not bad.
No,
because I still value Terry McLaurin at a late first round pick. I think the guy is too much talent. I will just be willing to say, fuck the situation. I know this guy can play. And I know he's not going to disintegrate within the next couple seasons.
I'm with you on that. I'm saying I think his value is a late first.
The problem with Terry McLaurin and the reason why people no longer want to give up the first for him is that we know what Terry McLaurin is now. He is a known commodity. And on top of that, he's really never been that wide receiver one. He's never been, that top 12 fantasy wide receiver. He's always hanging around right outside of it and around that, 15 to 20 range. He's always in there, but he's never been that top dog in fantasy. He's never been that wide receiver one. He's never been that wide receiver 5. He's getting older, and he just signed a long-term deal in Washington, and who knows when they get it right. They haven't got it right in 30 years. So, what's to say they will? I think the problem is people no longer see a shiny young kid with a high ceiling. They go, okay, we know what Terry McLaurin is. And that's why they're no longer giving up these first for him. So
that's I would take here.
So that's the problem with Terry McLaurin, is that you know exactly what he is. And you're not worried about him disintegrating, but you're just not going to get the price you want because he's no longer, maybe he develops into wide receiver 1. He's not. We know that. So I think that's the disconnect here.
Here's some Terry McLaurin trades that happened recently. Terry McLaurin and Jimmy G for Jameson Williams. Terry McLaurin and a 4th for Alan Lazard and a 2nd. Terry McLaurin for Juju and a 3rd in 2023.
That's a real trade.
Terry McLaurin for Traylon Strait. Terry McLaurin and 23 4th for Diontae. Terry McLaurin and
I like that trade
for Bateman.
Speaking
Terry
of
McLaurin
Diontae.
for Leonard Fournette.
That Diontae trade I like, and I'm pro McLaurin.
Okay, well, we could talk about Terry from Mike Will almost went down in my league, but Terry owner held him. I don't like either of them, but I'd rather Terry. Yeah. I'd rather give up.
Terry's the better talent. Terry's the better talent.
I'd rather Terry.
I guess lastly, another guy I wanted to talk about who's probably similarly priced to McLaurin right now is Dallas Goedert. This is a guy that has been very productive. Now, then again, the Eagles have kind of been that team through the first half of the season that's just hot, which I feel like every single year we always have that team that's hot and then they slow down. Maybe that is the Eagles' offense. I don't know. That is complete speculation. What are we valuing Dallas Goedert at, though? Has he reached in these tight end premium leagues? you got to slap that that first round pick valuation on him? Are you still like, nah, I don't want to shell out a first for him, even if I needed a tight end?
I'll just say in 7 seconds quick, then I'll let you go, Jake. If I had him in a tight end premium league, I'd be looking for a late first. It doesn't have to necessarily be this year. It could be a 24 late first or 25 late first, but I don't think I would sell for less than a late first.
Right, and that's kind of where I was going. Was I think that's what the Goedert roster would demand, but I don't think a buyer here is going to really want to shell out a first round pick for a tight end who's a top 5 tight end this season. I understand that, and he's only 27, so in tight end years he's got a while. But with that being said, I don't think you're really going to find a guy that's going to be like, yeah, I'll give you a first for a tight end that's not Kyle Pitts, that's not Travis Kelce, that's not Kittle. I think you're just going to run into a problem. Mark Andrews, thank you. Like, you're going to run into a problem with trying to find an owner that's willing to shell out a first for a tight end that's not one of these top end guys.
I think you guys could see me smirking, and I think you know where this is going to go. But the only reason I'd want to go and get Dallas Goedert is because the person who has Kyle Pitts is telling me they want a top 5 tight end replacement if he's trading Kyle Pitts.
Right. If you want to do that, then
I'll go get Dallas Goedert.
I mean, no, listen, I love Goedert. If you can get by with Goedert and another asset that isn't like crazy high for Pitts, I love that idea. I don't know what it would take on top of Goedert that he would be looking for in that type of scenario, JT. And that's a good question. But I mean, just in general, buying Pitts in any league, I think is the move.
Yeah,
right
Goedert I like, but like when you have Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, who are both like borderline wide receiver ones. Well, AJ Brown definitely is, but I think
Devontae's a wide
Smith
receiver
is putting up close to wide receiver 1 numbers right now. You have both those guys producing. They're clearly the top 2 guys, and then it's Jalen Hurts, who has been passing a decent amount, but like he's not going to lead the league in pass attempts. It's just like the ceiling is certainly capped for Dallas Goedert, barring any injury. So it's just why am I paying up?
I think the position scarcity improves his value. Look at the tight end market this year. Even guys like Darren Waller and Kittle, who were like vets, who like people expected still more like 3 good years from. I mean, I'm not saying they're trash now. They've battled injuries.
Everyone,
but like everyone except for Mark Andrews and Kelce, you might get 2 points that week, and you can't be surprised.
Yeah,
Njoku's look great. Njoku's look great.
Everyone's been like shit.
But like outside of Andrews and Kelce, it's who knows? Like we just saw Hawkinson like blow up one week, go off, and you're like, okay, he's arrived. Next week he puts up 1.9. Like and I like Hawkinson a lot, and I think I value him really high. But I'm saying like just because of how that position is in a tight end premium league, that's what's going to boost his value. It's not so much just the direct talent, which I know is the case for most people, and that's how I evaluate players in Dynasty, as I'm sure I know all 3 of you guys do as well. But the position plays a part in it for Goedert.
So far through 6 weeks, the only 2 tight ends that have over 100 points in, I believe that's full PPR, are Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews so far through 6 weeks.
Where's Goedert at?
He's 4th with 67. He has half as many points so far as Travis.
But that's the thing. That's still 4th. And
yeah, but here's the issue, though. Here's the issue. He's 4th, but like 10th, 9th is Gerald Everett. He's got 58. That's only like 8 points away from Dallas Goedert. You're only getting like a point per game more out of Dallas Goedert than you are.
I thought he was doing a lot better.
I feel more confident. I mean, compared to some of those guys, Goedert is locked up for multiple years.
Yeah, you're not worried. That's the but you're not going to just
contract Lounis.
Yeah, you're not going to buy.
What does Kyle Trask have to do with this? Kyle Trask Lounis
contract. But also Kyle Trask Lounis.
You said Kyle Trask.
He said
your reaction. What does Kyle Trask have to do with this? Who ends up with a better career, Terry McLaurin or DJ Moore?
Well, the problem, DJ Moore came into the league at 20. Well,
It's DJ
Terry
Moore.
came in at 24.
I would bet on DJ Moore.
Yeah.
I think DJ Moore is still more likely to have a.
I bet on McLaurin have a better career.
I think the
than guys
consensus
like
also
Mike Williams.
DJ Moore.
Yeah.
I'll take McLaurin career over like Mike Williams' career or something like that. But DJ Moore is good. I'll take DJ Moore.
All right, so here's an interesting one because we've been naming him all episode, and now we'll talk about trading for him, and that's Diontae Johnson.
Yes, sir.
And I agree. I think that Diontae Johnson is a buy. I'm just scared that he's in that consensus echo chamber buy spot where it's like everyone's screaming that he's a buy low, so in reality, he's not actually a buy low scenario.
I don't know.
I think Jake got him pretty low.
I think an owner might panic if you flash a first in front of the, like, even if it's a 24 or 25 first, if you just throw that out there for Diontae and whoever has him is like, I like really need like another just like either fluid asset or something. I can flip this first with someone who's going to help me win right now. That might get it done. And that's a trade I'm doing any day of the week. Unless I'm like a rebuilding team or something. If it's somewhere like 106, 107 to the end of the first round, and I can get Diontae for that and maybe like throw in one other asset. I don't know what it may be, a player or another like a late future second or a third round pick or whatever. That's an easy decision for me. Like the fact that like 6 games has dropped Deontay's value this much when he's one of the best receivers in the league. Is he like top 5 or top 8? No, but he's a premier receiver in this league, and I think he's a wide receiver 1 on most offenses.
I think Diontae right now is a prime guy to like pivot into. I did it in our home league actually, where I traded Mixon in a second essentially, or no, sorry, Mixon for Diontae in a second. So I just think right now Diontae owners are not panicking, but they wouldn't be mad to move off him based on quarterback play and just how that Pittsburgh team is shaping up. So like if you could pivot off an older running back like I did in Mixon, or a more volatile or a rookie like an Alec Pierce, and you could turn Alec Pierce into Diontae Johnson, you got to do it. Whatever you can do, like something like that. I think he's a prime guy to pivot right into right now because his value is low and other guys' value is high. Throw in a middle round pick, a second or a third round pick, and I think you got yourself a deal.
So something that I find interesting is that I also traded for Diontae. It was just in the beginning of the season, which he'd already kind of taken a dip from last year as well because of the whole Steelers are starting Mitch Trubisky fiasco. But the thing that both of those trades have in common is that we were both trading down into Diontae, right? You traded Mixon for Diontae in a second. I traded CD for Diontae in a first. And CD I feel like
Diontae in a first. Ooh, that's a great trade.
That was also the beginning of the season, though, where CD was consensus wide receiver 3. Wide receiver 4. Is it possible to get, because it seems like it's possible to get Diontae at his current keep trade cut price if you're going down, but can you get that price going up, which I think is the more important question, because to me, that's what signals true panic. When you're able to flip,
trading up.
Yeah, whatever player, like Ramondre in a second form or something, right?
It's kind of like what Jake mentioned. He mentioned someone like Alec. If you could throw Alec Pierce and one other asset for Diontae, and I'm by far I think I can say it's easy. I'm the highest on this podcast on Alec Pierce. I'd still do that in a fucking heartbeat. It's Diontae Johnson. And then I don't know. There are other trades you can try to conjure up, but Diontae, he's a star receiver. He's a wide receiver 1. Like there's not many guys you can say that about in the league. And he's still, how old is he? Maybe like 26, 27, 26.
26.
Yeah, like for me, this is a no-brainer, and it's an unfortunate season he's having. But even in like this quote disappointing season, he's had so many like highlight plays where he just flashes and shows his talent.
He's also
he's able to
target hog, man.
Yeah,
he gets like so 11 good. Targets at minimum, man.
What's his contract situation?
He just signed a 2-year extension this offseason.
Oh, it was only 2 years. Okay, that's interesting. That actually kind of makes me like him more.
Yeah, because he'll be able to get another big contract at 29. Yeah,
and he can leave if he wants to.
Yeah, that's what the Stonks move was, is that he can leave after a couple seasons and get another contract.
He's literally like, I'll give Pickett a chance. I'll give him a quick 2 years, and then if it's not, out of here.
Yeah, I wanted to pull up our rebuild team because we were talking about before the episode how we wanted to trade for Diontae Johnson. Now, we don't have a ton of assets, so I was going to ask you guys if you had any potential trades in mind, specifically off of someone like Brandon Cooks, because that's one of the few players that we have, unless we wanted to move from Kyler or Kyle Pitts into Diontae, which I don't think is what you guys are looking to do. So if you guys had any potential trade ideas.
I would want a combo, Brian Robinson and Brandon Cooks, and get, I don't know if our team is up on the screen, but
I can't log into my sleeper. I forgot my password.
Okay. Well, you could get more on top of that for, allegedly, according to Keep Trade Cut, Brian Robinson plus Brandon Cooks is more than Diontae Johnson. So
I mean, even forget. I think if you can do that trade, just those two for him, that's already robbery. I would have been willing to give up. I'm guessing a rebuilding team wouldn't have it, but I would already be willing to give up on top of those two guys like a late second for Diontae.
All right, you are high on Diontae.
Wow, that's a lot.
24, 20. Diontae's good.
He's good.
I mean, what do you guys think the price difference between the package of Robinson and Cooks and Diontae Johnson is? Chad, if you have any ideas as well, I'd love to hear your
Keep Trade Cut's telling you a late second.
By the way, not to cut anything away from Stephon Diggs, because I think Stephon Diggs is a top 6 receiver in football. If you replace Stephon Diggs with Diontae Johnson in that offense, what do you think of the type of numbers he'd be putting up?
It's a good question.
Maybe a smidge less, because I think that
a smidge less, but he'd be putting up absurd numbers. And again, I don't mean to take it. I think
Diggs is better hands than Diontae. They can both make the circus catches, but Diggs will just drop less footballs.
Yeah, no, I think Diggs is a better receiver. And again, I view Diggs as a top, like a top 5 receiver in football. If not, maybe top 5, maybe top 6. Like he's right there in that conversation. Like if you throw Diontae in that spot, you could he'd be putting up 1,250, 1,300 yards.
I would offer this guy Brian Robinson and Brandon Cooks for Diontae and David Bell. Keep Trade Cut.
I would just take Diontae straight. I mean, David Bell. You have to give me an asset to take on David Bell.
Roster clog.
Kidding.
David Bell is?
Yeah, he's a roster
Hasn't he been seeing a lot more usage recently in games?
No, I was just always anti David Bell when we did our draft pods.
So he had 63% snaps last week, which was his high of the year so far.
That's cute.
Buy low on Van Jefferson right now. Yeah, I think the only problem with that is that the jury's a little bit out.
We have him in the stock market, but
I'd give. What are you giving for? I feel like you can't give any more than a third.
Oh, or you know what I do? I do Brian Robinson and Brandon Cooks for Diontae Johnson and Trey McBride. It's probably the same thing.
Yeah, that's a trade I would like to do.
Oh, that's a no-brainer for me. I mean, I already told you guys, like Brandon Cooks and Brian Robinson for Diontae is an easy decision for me.
This guy has a lot of players that I like. Trey McBride, I like Dulcich.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's move on to the
mock.
To the mock. We'll let you guys know next week if that Cooks or Diontae Johnson trade was able to get done.
Okay, so with this, we're doing a Superflex rookie mock draft. 2 rounds this time. We spun a wheel beforehand to decide who's picking first, and lucky me, I got to go first. I think this was more
in snake order.
Yeah, snake order. Are we saying this is tight end premium or not? Not that I like.
Yes, it's tight end premium. Yeah,
Superflex tight end premium.
Yeah. Regardless, it wasn't going to change who I was picking one. Even in a Superflex league, I just want Bijan Robinson, the running back out of Texas. I wouldn't go so far as to say what people were saying on Twitter, where he's the closest we've seen to Barry Sanders. But he is. I think he gets drafted.
He's unbelievable.
First off, I think he's a first-round pick. I disagree with running backs in the first round, but whatever. I think he's a first-round pick, and I think he immediately becomes the running back 1 in Dynasty football. Just your normal.
Is he, real quick to both of you? Is he Dynasty RB1 right now?
Probably.
All of you.
The only guys' profiles that can really compare are Zeke, Saquon, McCaffrey, and two out of those. I mean, all three of those guys, age is the deciding factor, and you have to put Bijan.
I will tell you guys right now, Bijan is my Dynasty RB1.
Yeah.
It's either him, Breece Hall, or Jonathan Taylor, I guess, for like 99%.
That's probably the order
I'm wondering.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, Bijan, Breece Hall, then Taylor?
Yep.
Okay. Taylor and Breece Hall are close to me. I don't want to give up on
The thing is, for me, is that if Breece Hall is the RB1 right now, which a lot of people are starting to value,
and Bijan is a significantantly better prospect.
Yeah, I just think that Bijan's better than him. I don't think that Breece Hall is the RB1, but that's a different conversation.
Assuming Breece Hall continues his good season and he has a great rookie campaign and he's a solidified RB1, if you could trade him for 101, would you?
Yes.
Yes.
In most instances,
assuming like you've seen the streak Breece Hall is on. Let's just say he finished the season, has a great rookie season.
He's on pace too.
Is the like definite Dynasty RB1 at the end of the season? Like he continues his pace, he's going off, and someone offered you 101 for Breece Hall.
That only time so much context, man.
Yeah, the only time I wouldn't is if like I just see Bijan go to a team that I'm like, no, I don't care. Like, the Commanders, I'd be like, no.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's fair. I didn't think about like the team factor. But I mean, let's say he lands on a team where like it doesn't affect your value of him. Like, it's not a team where like it's like the Rams or like the Chiefs where like he goes up.
Yeah,
it's not a team where he goes down.
It's probably Bijan.
Bijan?
It's almost always Bijan. Yeah. But I do really like Breece Hall, but it's Bijan. All right, Lounis, you are not second. Jake is second, and he went with Bryce Young over CJ Stroud. I don't know. Is that controversial? I don't know.
No, that's not controversial.
Stroud is the QB1, at least on Keep Trade Cuts Debbie rankings right now. But I still think Bryce Young is the quarterback one in this draft. I think he is just shown everything you want to see in a quarterback. And he's going to be a high-end first-round pick. So, easy pick here for me.
I'm going to follow that up with CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
I actually really been starting to warm up to CJ Stroud. I wasn't the biggest fan of him in the beginning of the offseason. Not that I hated him or anything, but I was definitely at the time, Bryce Young. But I started watching some of the Ohio State stuff. Man, CJ Stroud is good. We've been waiting for that quarterback to kind of like break the Ohio State can't produce quarterbacks mold. I think that as of right now, CJ Stroud is the guy that will do that.
Would either of you guys have taken those quarterbacks over Bijan, or is it just Bijan?
Not right now.
Clear first.
At this point, no.
I think the question is, would you have taken another player on top of one of the two quarterbacks?
What
would you have taken? Yeah, you're gonna have to explain.
No, the quarterbacks for the top
would you have
3.
Taken another player over the quarterback?
No, those are the clear top 3 in this draft, right? As of this moment,
it's like it's kind of blurry vision for me.
It's so much harder to evaluate quarterbacks than it is the other.
Bryce, I'm telling you, the top 2 I'd have the same 2. Stroud, who I really like Stroud. I think he's gonna be good in the NFL. I mean, I don't know. You guys will see. I'm about to make the first, not with this pick, but I'm about to make a pick that everyone's going to hate in a second. My first pick, though, I don't think so. At 104, I'm taking Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Good luck spelling.
I think it's pretty easy. I think it's exactly how.
I mean.
Yeah, it spells out like it sounds.
Like how would get it's like how you would guess it. We've seen, the tape kind of speaks for itself. He's an absolute superstar receiver. We've seen how good Olave and Garrett Wilson have looked in the NFL, and he was clearly better than both of them. It's kind of reminiscent to like when Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase played together, and we knew Jamar Chase was better the entire season, and we saw Justin Jefferson's success in the NFL, and we were like, holy shit, imagine Jamar Chase. And Jamar Chase came in and broke all of Jefferson's records. I just feel confident. I think this is going to be a guy who's a top 10 receiver after his rookie year, if not higher. I'm all in on JSN. And The smart pick here would be Jahmyr Gibbs. The smart pick. But
are you calling yourself an idiot? Like, I don't understand.
I'm calling myself. I'm just name one genius who's not crazy. I'm going Jordan Addison.
Okay, I don't hate it.
The problem I have is I just think when you're drafting early here,
I'm a big Jordan Addison fan.
I really like Jordan Addison, but I think the problem you have is the running backs are just really good this year, where it's been than the 2020 class. We haven't seen a ton of great running back classes.
I definitely spelled that wrong.
My thing is, I value him and Jahmyr Gibbs about the same, even considering positional value. Like, I think Addison's more talented. I'm incorporating positional value, so I have them about the same. And then I just lean the receiver. I
have no positional value anymore over running back and receiver.
I
think it's nice that the
receiver and running back still plays a factor for him. I mean, running back has like the kind of scarcity of position, or it's like if you can get a good one that's reliable week to week, that's huge. Versus receiver, like, will last. I don't know. It's like
I just think you have to do less as a running back for people to start paying good prices for you. I think that's the only benefit.
I think that's fair. I really like Jordan Addison. Both these receivers. I don't blame anyone who took Jahmyr Gibbs. Earlier today, when we were thinking about it, I was dead set on Jahmyr Gibbs and JSN, but I just a little last second. Switch.
Yeah, I was thinking about Jahmyr Gibbs at 3. Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm pretty sure last week had a play clock in. He was traveling at 22.8 miles per hour.
Jeez.
I'm pretty sure that would have been the fastest for all NFL running backs or players, one of the two. This is a guy, I mean, you could just watch the Alabama games. He's smooth as butter. Instantly, when you watch him, you're like, well, the only time I've ever seen that is Alvin Kamara. The way that he just effortlessly is able to glide past defenders and has insane balance to where it really doesn't look like he's doing anything crazy, but people are just sliding off of him. And just to add the cherry on top, he's fantastic in the passing game.
Yeah. The only thing I'm worried about is he's a tad undersized, where it's like, I really like him. I probably would have drafted him 4th, to be honest. But my just concern is he is a little smaller.
So what is his weight listed at? 215, which is like a hard. Yeah, he's not 215.
Yeah, 201. 201 is what's.
Yeah, okay, that is scary. I will give you that. That is scary because that's right around that 200-pound is a. If you look at the data analytics studies people have done, that is a very important line for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think all things being considered, the other thing that's interesting is that Jahmyr Gibbs does line up as a receiver a lot. Bama has done that with their running backs a lot more than NFL teams, right? You see Najee, he caught a lot more passes at Bama, it felt like, than he does in the NFL with the Steelers. Maybe that is also just going to be a thing with Gibbs. But as a receiver, he's phenomenal. So I think that Jahmyr Gibbs, easily to me, one of the biggest risers in terms of stock. I think that he's just firmly cemented himself as the RB2 in rookie drafts as of right now.
Yeah, and Jake?
Yeah, at 7 here, I went with Kayshon Boutte. I know he's not having a great year, but he's just one of these guys that's been a great prospect coming in. He showed in his freshman and sophomore year. This LSU team this year is an absolute mess. So I think I'm going to take the talent here. I think he's safer than some of the other guys that are going to follow right after him here. And I think so. I played it safe and I went with the wide receiver that has the most talent left on the board, and that's Kayshon Boutte.
Joe saying everyone outside Robinson and Stroud at the top of this class has size concerns. I kind of agree with that.
My two guys don't.
Except for Quentin Johnson.
I was gonna say if you consider putting him in the top of the class, then yeah. I mean, he's my wide receiver 1, but He's not.
I think you have to. I mean, he's climbing boards for a lot of people. I think you're going to pick him up right here.
No, surprisingly, I'm not. And it's not because I love Quentin Johnson, but it's just what I think of these running backs and where I think it drops off is right here after I'm about to take the two of them. So order's kind of arbitrary, but I'm going to pretend like I didn't have 108 and 109 right next to each other. Like I'm going to pretend I didn't have both these picks. So I'm trying to decide who I'd want first.
Just put Sean
and
Tucker
I guess I'd
first.
say I think I'm going to do Sean Tucker first. Sean Tucker we've talked about before. I think I drafted him before when we did one of these. Syracuse running back.
Sean Tucker, fuck yeah.
Sean Tucker is pleased with his performance.
Yeah, I love his Twitter. He's another one that is kind of undersized, though. It's you know what? No, okay. I'm moving Sean Tucker down one actually, but Sean Tucker is getting drafted by me. It's just he's getting drafted here, and at 108, I'm actually taking Zach Evans, who is another running back.
Not who I thought you were gonna take.
Really? I won't tip picks, so I'm not going to get. Well, you're picking next, so maybe you pick him. But Zach Evans, I think, has moved up. He's a little bit of a better size. I think he's a very good runner. He just ran for like 130 yards against Auburn last week. He actually transferred from TCU. I've been liking Zach Evans for a little while now. Those are my.
All right, I've got one of Sean Tucker's Twitter posts on the screen. Sorry, this guy is great. This weekend, we won. Syracuse 32, Purdue 29. I'm pleased with the outcome of the game. You have to love 3-0. I'm not pleased with my performance. I expect more from myself. The grind never stops. I rushed for 42 yards and 2 rec for 23 yards. Hashtag pleased.
I can't wait to I can't wait till he continues that.
He's a Gruden grinder. Yeah, he's a Gruden grinder.
If he continues that one, I really hope he does because I will love all those tweets.
I just love too all the responses from like the Syracuse college kids, just like how I can go to class knowing Sean Tucker is pleased with his performance. Like, just all the memes are unbelievable. I love Sean Tucker. That guy's awesome. JT, why did you just describe why you took Zach Evans over Sean Tucker?
He's better sized than, I think
that's
both are very good.
The limiting factor? Yeah,
I think he's like, at the end of the day, the coaches are old school. They're going to want their bigger back to be pounding in near the goal line. That being said, I think that's where Zach Evans is going to succeed more. Receiving wise, though, it's tough because Sean Tucker is better like he's a better pass catching back than Zach Evans. So it is a toss up. I don't know. It was a very difficult decision. Maybe could come draft day when I'm actually making these picks, I actually switch them. But for right now, they're the next 2 running backs I have, and I just think there's more wide receiver depth than there is running backs after you kind of knock these 2 off. Jake, who are you taking? Or have you already taken him? I can't see.
I already took him. You guys kind of touched on him. I think he's fallen a little too far here. I was debating him at 107. I get him at 110. It's Quentin Johnson from TCU. He's just a body beat that wide receiver here, and I think he's fallen too far.
Yeah, he's sick. I still love the first round of this draft. Even with some like disappointing, I guess I'd say like junior seasons for a few of these guys, like I still love this first round compared to especially last year.
Well, I mean, Quentin Johnson has kind of not only revived his stock the past 2 weeks, he's gone just kind of nuclear, right? He's had over 100 yards against 2 top 20 teams. He just put up like $180 against a
not just 100 yards. He had like I might be making this up. I thought it was like 67% of the team's target share.
Yeah, he went pretty freaking nuclear.
Kansas.
Yeah. I think he's jumped Butte for me for now. I was looking at their profiles, both their sophomore seasons. I mean, Quentin Johnson, his sophomore season, 80 yards per game. Kayshon Butte in his sophomore season, 85 yards per game, just under. I think that Butte gets and it's fine, right? I'm not going to kill Butte for the season he's having this year after his freshman and sophomore campaigns that were pretty successful. which are more predictive probably than the later seasons. But the more I looked into it, it's like, man, Quentin Johnston really wasn't far behind Kayshon Boutte for experience-adjusted production. And now you look at what he's doing now, he's only increased, and he's only doing better. And if he continues playing really well, as he has the past couple of weeks, I mean, his stock is only going to get better. So Quentin Johnston, to me, has jumped Boutte. And, dude, I probably would have snagged him up at 107 this draft.
Yeah, I mean, I love him. It's just I wanted the running backs. But to go back to what I was saying, they played it was undefeated TCU versus undefeated Kansas. TCU threw the ball 23 total times. They threw it to Quentin Johnston 14 of those times.
Boy.
No, Quentin Johnston's a stud.
This is a tough pick for me here because I feel like it's either I look at tight end or I take the last available receiver and every other pick is running backs. I'm going to take the last receiver. I'm going to take my guy Josh Downs. He's the last receiver I have in this top tier as of right now. There are some other interesting receivers that are popping up, but yeah, I think that Josh Downs is the last like higher end prospect that has elite level upside at the receiver position. Has been insanely productive and that has not really stopped in his senior season for UNC. Actually, I think this is his junior season. So
I have a question.
What's up?
I'm not going to take him with one of my next two picks because I know who my next two picks are going to be, but I did consider him, at least for me. I'm wondering if you considered him. He's draft eligible. I'm not 100% sure if he's entering the draft this year. Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio State.
He's 2024.
Oh, he's
24
here. Okay,
yeah,
my bad. I thought he was eligible.
He's a sophomore right now. I would have picked him here. Yes, I probably would have picked him earlier.
Okay.
He's a beast.
No, he's really fucking good. Yeah.
Downs drop rate is very high. I'm just not really a huge drops guy. The thing is, I just remember watching Sam Howell at UNC, and whatever their back's name was last year, and coming away thinking like, I feel like I just watched Jordan Addison, and it was Josh Downs. I mean, this guy is just making play after play after play after play. So, to snag him up at 111, I like that a lot.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to go with. Just want to confirm real quick. Brock Bowers is not eligible for this draft, correct?
No, he's not.
No, he probably would have gone.
Okay, good. So I get to pick the number one tight end prospect of this draft, Michael Mayer from Notre Dame.
From Halloween.
Yes. And then Notre Dame. Best tight end prospect in this draft. He had a fantastic season last year. It's just the tight end premium. This is probably in the past 3 years, second best tight end prospect after Pitts.
No.
Over the past three drafts. Who's second?
Someone that hasn't been picked yet.
Oh, you have someone over.
Yeah.
I'm not going to overreact too much through Sofa because entering this season, he was the easy tight end one. I believe in his talent. I just really like him. I think he's going to be good. And okay, so this one at
real quick, Michael Mayer. I think something that's being a little understated about Michael Mayer because I actually really like this pick from Lewis. I'm pretty sure last year he averaged 70 yards per game. I mean, that is up there with some of these receivers.
He put up absurd production.
Like Marvin Mims, a guy that's starting to get some hype for having success at Oklahoma, is putting up 77 yards a game this season. Jordan Addison, 84, 83 and a half. Dude, like 70 yards per game for a tight end is pretty nasty.
Yeah, it is. No, so I think he's over the past 3 years the second best after Pitts.
I think he's good at most things, but he's not like great. I'd say at anything. It's probably my big.
Yeah, but look at the price that you're paying compared to even like someone like Hawkinson.
That was the exact comparison.
Well, Hawkinson is
Hawkinson. I think he's better than
Hawkinson was also a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. Like, I don't think Michael Mayer is going to be a top 10
I think Michael Mayer as a receiver is just as good.
Okay, well, what about Noah Fant? I mean, you're getting him cheaper. I mean, around the same price. I think generally
around the same price.
Yeah, again, Noah Fant was another first-round tight end. So, like,
are you really writing Mayer off from going in the first this year potentially?
I'm not writing him off. I think there's definitely a potential, but until I see that, I don't think I'm willing to slide a tight end much higher than 109, maybe. Like I can't move him up much higher than this just because of a second or a third round tight end is a dime a dozen. We've seen a million of them that have just come and gone.
Yeah, but at 112.
I just think he's a potential first round kind of guy. I guess that's where we
no, I like Michael Mayer a lot, but I'm just saying until I see that high draft capital put into him by an NFL team, I can't put him up much higher than this.
The thing is, I look at Cole Kmet and what he did at Notre Dame to warrant early second round draft capital, and Michael Mayer just take Cole Kmet's production and like double it.
Again,
you have Michael Mayer.
Yeah, I agree. He's much better than Cole Kmet, but at the same time,
Cole Kmet's also put up 0 points in the NFL.
Right. It's easy to say that now, where you just go Cole Kmet. We all like Cole Kmet. He's a good prospect, and we all thought he'd be better than he is right now. But is Michael Mayer tight end is just one of these positions that's so funky. We see Kyle Pitts struggle, and he's the most athletic freak of the position has ever seen. So I'm not ready to just automatically throw Mayer.
But the other thing about Michael Mayer is he's undersized. He's 6'4", which, I mean, it's crazy to say that's undersized, but like a lot of the guys that we were just saying were like in the 6'6" range. Cole Kmet, Kyle Pitts.
I still think he's a good receiver. I don't know. I like him at 112 a ton.
At 112, it's a good value pick, yes.
At 201, Frank, you won't like this pick. I'm taking the QB3.
Oh, yeah, I'm out on that too.
Who, Will Levis?
Yes.
I like that you had to ask who too. Like, who is that?
Okay, listen. I have had this philosophy: if a quarterback goes in the first round, I'm going to value them higher.
I started that.
I don't know if I started or you started, but either way, we both agreed from the jump. Will Levis is projected to go top 15 in just about every mock I've seen. He's kind of been a consensus top 3, the third quarterback of this draft class. If he goes top 15 or top 20, you have to take him here. You have to.
Yeah. I mean, you'd probably take him earlier than this, but
that's what I'm saying. I'm surprised because the reason I brought him up, he's gonna go top 15, top 20. He's going.
I just don't think that's a lock. I haven't really watched.
Maybe not.
Kentucky games.
I think it's. I think it's
tape. The guy puts fucking mayo in his coffee.
I think it's a lock for first round. I think from the first round, if you want to debate like top whatever, Matt Miller had him at like, he just put out a mock for the top 10 today. Matt Miller had him at 103.
Oh, Matt Miller's a fraud.
Yeah, Matt Miller.
Not even for rookie drafts, for the NFL.
Mel Kiper put him really high. Which listen, Mel Kiper's a meme, but I don't Kiper at least.
I don't agree that Will Levis is a top 5 pick, but I do think he's going to be a first round pick, and I think he's going to be top 15 or top 20. And from that, you have at 201, you have to take.
Dude,
he's talented. He makes bad decisions sometimes, but he has the talent.
Look at, he's got a fucking cannon attached to his shoulder.
He's got a cannon. He has the physical traits you'd want from a franchise quarterback. I just can't let him fall past 201. I can't. It's just the upside and the value there. I can't let him fall past 201, especially if he's a top 15 or top 20 pick. I can't.
Yeah, that's a fair. I've actually started to grow warm of Levis a little bit, but once again, like there's so much scrutiny that these quarterbacks are all going to go through, and so much of this process still to be had. Like it's going to be a freaking roller coaster. I mean, there were years where we were saying that, there could be 9 quarterbacks, and then all of a sudden everyone's going all over the place, right? Like at this point last year, we were drafting like Matt Corral 101 in these Superflex mocks. Like,
yeah. No, I mean, just for now, how things seem, it looks like he's going to be a top 15 pick. I can't let him fall past here.
I'm doing a JT pick here. I'm taking Darnell Washington.
Yeah, there it is. Tight end 1.
there it is.
That is a JT pick.
This guy has Arik Gilbert been injured, or is he usurped?
No, he just kind of stinks.
Okay, because that's what I thought, right?
He moved him to the bench.
Because I've watched a couple of Georgia games, and I'd seen Darnell Washington playing over Arik Gilbert. I didn't know if Arik Gilbert was maybe nursing something and just kind of suiting up or whatever. But yeah, he has usurped Eric or Arik. This guy is an absolute physical monster. The numbers won't impress you, but if you watch these Georgia games, they spread the ball out a ton, and he makes really, really tremendous plays.
Yeah, I mean, he's a 6'7", 270 giant. Like
that can hurdle people and is fast. Like
he's massive. I'm all in on him. He's my tight end 1.
Like this guy should be holding like a sword, not playing football. Like this guy should be like the Terminator or something. I don't know. Like
Jake has an interesting pick here.
I think he's fallen too far, to be completely honest. And that's Tank Bigsby, running back from Auburn. I like Tank Bigsby.
Wait, was Tank Bigsby?
I think he's fallen too far.
Oh, he hasn't been taken.
So Tank Bigsby.
Yeah, no, it's a great pick. That's a great pick.
Dude, I don't know, because I've heard a lot of weird things about Tank Bigsby, disagreeing with the coaches and things like. There was stuff this offseason, and he went back, and now apparently he was doing it again, and he's a little bit lazy, apparently. Dude, I love Tank Bigsby as a player. When you watch him, it's fun. He breaks a lot of tackles. He'll have some big runs.
He doesn't run like a tank, though. Doesn't. He's not like an angry runner or anything.
I think, dude, I'm just a little... I liked Tank Bigsby when he was younger. There's just a couple of enough red flags. I feel like I need to wait until the NFL draft and see what the teams think of him to really cement my last valuation of him.
I'd agree. I mean, I think at this point, like 203 is just like a good value for him. Obviously, a lot can change between now and rookie draft time, but overall, I think him as the running back 4 or 5 in this class, whatever I got him here, I still think it's a very deep running back class as a whole.
All right, Mr. JT. Yeah, this running back class this whole running back offseason is going to be absolutely bonkers.
It's absurd. And even the free agent running backs, I don't know if you've seen.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. The free agent running backs are nasty.
The running backs and free agent, it's like Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, Miles Sanders. It's a ton of like startable running backs.
You guys are putting me in a tough spot. I thought I was going to sneak away with Darnell Washington here. We were talking about.
I have a guy I like who hasn't been taken, who like doesn't have crazy production, but like him.
Okay.
He probably won't be.
That's like every player that we're going to take around here then.
Wait, JT. I just want to know: is Marvin Mims in like the back of your head?
He's actually someone. Yeah, he's like. There's probably like 4 players I'm picking between right here, and Marvin Mims is probably 3 or 4 of those guys. Like he's probably the 3rd or 4th of those guys. I think we talked about him in the group chat. His season so far has not been going great. That's Raheem Jarrett. I think I spelled that right.
Oh, yikes.
You're saying yikes as a bad pick?
What?
I'm not touching Raheem Jarrett.
I'm fine with that pick.
Thank you, Lounis.
Bro, he's the 4th receiver on Maryland.
Bro, he plays at Maryland.
Yeah,
hey.
He wasn't the 4th receiver last year. He had a great last year.
Be nice.
This guy's putting up like 20 yards a game.
No disrespect to Maryland, but like I'm not counting on Maryland to support receivers.
Raheem Jarrett was in like the realm of like George Pickens and Wan'Dale Robinson and Drake London.
Besides DJ Moore,
yards per route run. Like he's not bad. It's just this season, if we're giving Kayshon Boutte the pass, I'm also giving Raheem Jarrett the pass.
At least I got 1 week out of Boutte. At least I've seen 1 week.
We still might get 1 week.
Actually, I think Raheem Jarrett did have the first week of the season. I think he did well, and then he's done like
2 for
nothing
65
ever since.
against them. SMU.
Yeah, great. Oh yeah, SMU secondary. I know it's pretty elite, so you're gonna definitely not gonna.
Look, I'm sticking my priors here. I'm sticking my priors. I know it's been a disappointing season, but I'm not willing to throw it out yet because Maryland. A tank would run slow. I think it's a reference to how he is built. Oh well. No, I'm just talking about like he's not running like a forceful. Tanks Bigsby's not running like a forceful player. All right. Anyway, moving on to my next pick. This is where it gets tough. I think I go running back here.
Yeah, you're gonna take exactly who I think you're gonna take.
Who do you think I'm gonna take?
Yeah, my guy's not gonna last. I'm pissed.
You're gonna take Charbonnet.
No. Was that your guy? I thought about it. Oh, I almost typed him in too. He's been injured this year, so it's kind of hard to give him a play. I'm taking
you guys go quiet about Charbonnet.
He's been injured, so it's hard to say what he could have been doing this year. Not a big reception player, but I mean at this point,
Kendall Milton is who JT just picked, by the way.
This second round is nice. This second round is good. Holy shit!
Yeah, we're saying that now, and then it's gonna.
No, but some of these guys in the second round here are like guys like last draft we would consider like 108, 109.
Yeah, JT's right though, because you're gonna have the guys that go back to school. You're gonna have the Kyron Williamses where you have.
This is about where I was taking Zach Charbonnet last year because I thought he was coming out, and then that didn't happen.
I think I don't know. I would. There's some other running backs I'd rather take over Kendall Milton right now.
I'm interested to see who. I think Zach Charbonnet might be one of them. But
all right, Jake, you're up 206. Who are you taking, boss?
My Big Ten bias strikes again. I'm taking Blake Corum.
Damn, I thought he'd fold.
Oh, really? Blake Corum.
Oh, I want a Blake Corum.
I'm taking Blake Corum here. I don't know. Him and Charbonnet was who I was between here. I just like what I've seen against some Big Ten defenses. I think he's looked really good along with this Michigan team. So we'll see how he tests in the combine. I think that's going to play a big role in how Blake Corum actually ends up getting drafted. But for now, middle of the second round, I don't hate it.
I feel like I'm watching another like Ray Rice, Austin Eckler when I watch Blake Corum. Wow. The classic, very versatile in the passing game in terms of blocking and receiving. And their running style is much more physical than you would expect, right? They're shorter backs, but they have good center of gravity and good balance. And Blake Corum's someone that wants to play downhill. He wants to get into contact downhill with you. And that's why, like, I feel like you get that at Austin Eckler, right? A running back who wants to hit the hole, hit it quick, get downhill, and he wants contact. And I just feel like that mold is what backs are kind of succeeding in the NFL right now. It's either you're one of these zone dudes in the Shanahan clone offenses, or you're one of these like receiving backs that ends up getting a ton of volume because you're on the field in all the money plays. So I think Blake Corum could be legit. The only problem is that Michigan offensive line. It's like, dude, they're professional people movers. I mean, did you guys watch that Michigan Penn State game?
Yeah.
I mean, that Penn State defense is good, and they had I'm pretty sure, a top 5 run defense. That Michigan offensive line was just destroying them. Dominant. Yeah, it was like you could look at Blake Corum's numbers, and he was good. It's not like Blake Corum was bad. He's a good running back, and he was playing well. But let's be real. Any NFL level running back is going crazy that game behind that offensive line.
Yeah.
So I like what I've seen so far. And that's who I was going to pick. Now I don't know who to pick.
I got a couple guys that I'm ready to take.
I have a few left. I have a few.
I've got like a whole list of random players.
There was one guy I already mentioned to you.
I mean, there's just so many different running backs of all shapes and sizes and specialties to choose from that are all producing pretty well.
Is it bad between like the 4 players I have on my short list? Only one is a running back.
What do you guys think of Deuce Vaughn?
He was someone I'm considering, but there's a couple other running backs that
I have 2 picks left. I have a short list of 4 players. 3 of the 4 are receivers. One's a running back.
I'm gonna go with a Frank pick here. I'm gonna take a guy, Rashee Rice out of SMU.
Oh, that is not. I did not see that coming.
Just because I can't decide on any of these running backs. Rashee Rice having a really good season on SMU. This dude is an absolute target hog. He's averaging 127 yards per game for this team, which is basically double what he did last year. Low-key productive in his underclassmen years as well, with 50 and 68 yards per game, respectively, his freshman and sophomore seasons. I just feel like what I saw out of Rashee Rice is what I almost wanted to see out of Jalen Tolbert. A dude that has really good releases, that doesn't have the craziest frame, but he plays bigger, right? He's like 6'2" or 6'3", 202, 203, which is pretty big. But I feel like I'm getting a 6'3", 215 type of receiver. And I think Rashee Rice might have some of the best hands I've ever seen. I'm not going to lie. This guy's hands are just Velcros. It's crazy glue. It's Gorilla Glue. Like, it's nuts. The guy he didn't drop a football. He makes tons of contested catches. He makes tons of catches with people draped over him. So the big knock on him is that I feel like at the top of his route, he doesn't get that separation that you'd like to see. But he's good at pushing off, and he's got great hands. So I feel like he can succeed. So fuck it. I'm taking Rashee Rice. I'm getting a share in these mock drafts.
Okay. This guy, the overall season production hasn't been great. But I like the talent that he showed. I'm picking Marvin Mims from out of Oklahoma.
I like that pick here. He was definitely one that was on my short list.
So I know he hasn't had like a 1,000-yard season yet, but I just think in that Oklahoma offense, he's shown off his talent. He can, as what you were saying, at the top of routes, create separation. I think he has great hands. He doesn't really have ever a drop issue. I don't remember the exact percentage I saw a week or two ago, but his drop percentage is great. He's someone that I like a lot in this draft towards the end of the second round, or if he somehow falls early third. And I think right now, this Oklahoma offense is just kind of a shit show, and I think he's taken a fault out of it. I think he would have been in for a breakout season if Oklahoma's offense was how it normally is, with like Lincoln Riley and a quarterback putting up numbers. I think it would be a very different conversation about him. So I like him here towards the end of the second round. Now this is tough. I could pick Charbonnet. Is that how I would say it? Yeah. Charbonnet. The running back, I consider him. But I could consider Parker Washington out of what is he, Penn State?
Yeah, he's got some sauce.
I like him, but I'm gonna go an alternative route. I'm gonna take Ronnie Bell out of Michigan.
Oh, that's a very alternate route.
He's been producing well this season. I think we kind of all know, even though this season the quarterback plays pretty decent, Michigan does not do many favors to their receivers. So I don't go fully off the stats with guys from there. I go off just kind of watching tape, evaluating talent. I like him a lot. Hold on, I had a couple.
Take some freaking running backs because I wanted the decision to be made for me.
Yeah, let's start here taking receivers much higher over running backs. I would take.
Yeah. Okay. No. So I had a couple notes. He had a season-ending ACL injury.
And that's a good thing. That's why you're picking him.
No. I'm saying.
Yeah, he retired from football.
No, what is it? I'm saying. I think he would be higher on everyone's boards had he not suffered that injury. And ACL isn't something I'm too concerned about. He's back. He's healthy this year, and he's been producing. I don't know. He's just someone that I really like at the end of the second round. I understand wanting to take Charbonnet. I understand wanting to take Parker Washington. I don't think any of those guys would have been bad picks there. Those are just the two guys I went with.
Yeah, what's going on, Nick? You need weighing on a trade. Noah Fant for AJ Dillon. I'm going to assume this is Dynasty, and I would 1,000% trade Noah Fant for AJ Dillon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just AJ Dillon doesn't offer a lot to me.
I'm not. Honestly, though, I say yes just because of value. I say yes because of value because if I did that trade, I would want to flip AJ Dillon for something else. AJ Dillon is like, if you plan on keeping him, I like the idea of getting AJ Dillon though, and then flipping him after he has a couple good games for even more value.
The problem with AJ Dillon is it's like kind of like you're putting in a decent amount of resources into something and then getting out like a Michael Logic from it. But like personally, I think like Noah Fant.
That was one of the. Someone just texted you to added Michael Laudrup.
No, that was I saw Nick put that, and I was like, "How do I fit Michael Laudrup into this?" That was all on my own. AJ Dillon, I just think he's not going to like even with Aaron Jones out, he doesn't give you a whole lot. But Noah Fant's just he's been consistent, but he's just been consistently meh this year. But if we could get like a couple more targets for Noah Fant, he moves out of that.
Oh, there's so many running backs. I'm just gonna take. I don't know. I'll go for the no.
You can take Charbonnet.
Take the undersized.
Charbonnet's the great pick here.
No, I think I'm gonna take the undersized one. If you don't,
I'm gonna go with Chris Rodriguez.
Whoa,
that's not who I.
Yeah, these are all. These guys have not been on my board. I'm very.
Oh, JT, I didn't hear you. What do you think of my last two picks?
They're not really on my.
Chris
Marvin Mims,
power back out of Kentucky, downhill pro style offense. I mean, my running back rank is going to change a lot once I do the forced missed tackle stuff. But like, yeah, I mean, JT and Jake, just take two other running backs.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Like, just start. Okay. I'm shocked that more running backs didn't go off the board in the second round. Now, I mean, I was partly to blame for that for taking Rashee Rice, but
yeah, I was.
I don't know.
I like your receivers. The Texas A&M running back who I always struggle to pronounce.
I just took him, so
that's why I took Charbonnet. But those were.
I mean, there's plenty more, right? Mo Ibrahim, Eric Gray, Deuce Vaughn, Zach Charbonnet.
Deuce Vaughn should have gone here.
Is it Devin?
Devon Kane.
I think both are probably not how you say him, but whatever. The two running backs that Jake and I took at 211 and 212, I would have taken at 206. Had I the opportunity. I don't know. I just think those are more they're very different running backs.
209 is where I was considering them. Marvin Mims, I wanted to take first, and then 209, I was considering both of those guys.
All right, so first off, I think Raheem Jarrett's going to fall out of the top 24 rookie players.
Yeah, he might. I mean, looking at all these running backs, it's very. I think it's
a good.
I think it's top heavy in terms of like draft. You have elite running backs, but then when you go down the list, there are a lot of just like solid running backs. Like if I had a player right now, kind of pivoting back to maybe more dynasty than Devy, if I had a running back that I think is fringe, like a Dameon Pierce or Antonio Gibson. Or trying to think of like those guys that are on like the edge.
Dameon Pierce and Antonio Gibson are drastically apart.
They're not. Yeah, they're drastically apart.
Maybe like an Elijah Mitchell.
Elijah Mitchell, that's a great one. David Montgomery is another one. I think that they could. Miles Sanders, kind of. CH. I think a lot of these guys can either be replaced or find themselves in well, in the case of like Antonio Gibson, like definitely replaced. But in the other guys that we mentioned, I think they could find themselves either replaced or in a very unattractive timeshare after.
We should do a segment on this next week because I agree with I think we should just do a segment on the running back landscape for next year because there's too many running backs. There's so
many free agent good starters right now who are going to be free agents this offseason in a very good running
Devin
back.
Singletary. I'm going through the whole league now.
He wasn't even the guy.
Anyone on the Dolphin. Joe Mixon, I think, could be in trouble.
Because it's not even that there's a lot of good running backs in the 23 class. It's like these running backs are coming in all shapes and sizes, all do different things well. So it's like no matter what kind of running back you would want, there's one that fits the mold and is producing at a pretty high level right now.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a lot of shakeup in the league. And dude, when push comes to shove, I mean, what do you think these NFL teams are going to take? Drafting one in the second or third round, maybe even fourth round, or paying someone in free agency? We've all seen the teams want to draft these running backs and get them on these cheap contracts, use them up, spit them out.
Yep.
No, I think if you have any of those free agent guys outside of Saquon Barkley, because Saquon Barkley is just like a top 3, arguably top 1 or 2 back in football, you're hoping that all of these guys resign. Like I could tell you, as someone who has Sanders, I'm praying to the heavens and lords that he resigns. Because I think he can get a primary role somewhere else, but if he doesn't, I just
love the end lords in that. The heavens.
If he doesn't, the Lord of Winterfell, the Lord of
Lounis is out here praying to the new god, the old gods, and the new,
and the new gods. I'm praying all of them.
All right, we gotta end it there. All right. If you made it this far, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate you guys hanging out in chat tonight, listening to the episode. Hope you enjoyed the mock draft. Definitely gonna start getting a lot more 2023 rookie content coming at you, so stay tuned for that. We'll be back tomorrow for the Dynasty stock market. We're gonna have a lot of exciting things coming, so stay tuned. Hit that like, subscribe button. Really appreciate it. Peace out. Have a good one.